Hey everyone, this is Brandon with Ultimate Dent Repair. I have these two hail dents that I'm going to repair for you and just kind of walk you through my thought process as I'm repairing them. Now, this hood is off of a 2020 Chevy Blazer. We took it off the vehicle to make it easier for us to repair. These dents were caused by hail, so these aren't the only ones on there. There's quite a few on this particular hood, but these are some of the bigger dents that are on the hood here. So now you can see the metal moving, and you're probably asking yourself, what exactly is happening? Well, what I'm doing is I have a tool that's on the back side of that dent on the right there, and I am trying to pinpoint the tip of my tool to the center of that dent and just trying to use small pushes to get the center of the dent to rise up. So when I'm looking at a dent, these dents were caused by hail. So the hailstone falls down and creates a center pinpoint, which is dragging the surrounding metal with it to give it the dent shape there. When I'm repairing these dents, I'm ignoring that surrounding area. I call that the halo of the dent. I'm ignoring the halo of the dent. I'm more focused on the center of the dent. I found that if I push the center of the dent, the halo of the dent will follow with it. And this dent on the left here, you can see that process actually happening. You can see the halo just getting smaller and smaller because I am successfully pushing the center of the dent up. Again, just trying not to over push. If you were to get in there not knowing any better and using all your strength to push the dent up, you will create irreversible damage and most likely crack the paint to this. The key to proper paintless dent repair is finesse. You don't want to over push. You don't want to move faster than you should. Give it time. Keep working the center with these particular dents, and your dent will get smaller and smaller, and you'll be able to have a complete repair. Now, I have this camera fixed at this angle for demonstration purposes, but I'm actually using a different light, a fog setup, and I'll explain that in a little bit here, but I'm actually using a different light, and as I'm repairing these dents, I'm constantly looking at them from different angles. It may look good or complete from this angle, but if I were to move my head to a different angle and view the dent from a different angle, then most likely you're going to see the imperfections that still need to be worked. So for a proper dent repair, proper complete dent repair, it's essential to cross-check and look from all different angles to ensure that you are getting all of the imperfections of the damage. Now back to my light setup or my reflection setup. I am using a reflective setup that uses LED lights, and it creates this fog effect. This particular reflection that we're looking at is considered a line board reflection, where it actually physically has some lines going horizontally on the light there, so that you're able to read the dents properly with those lines. If the lines are not straight, then there's obviously some imperfections in the metal. Again, I love using it for demonstrations, but for the life of me, I have such a difficult time using it for repairs. So I'm just using it for demonstration purposes. I use basically the same setup as this, just no lines, no black lines across it. And that is basically my setup for repairing dents. That's what I was trained with, and that's what I'm accustomed to using in order to read all my damage. Now you can see here that the dent on the right, the back side of it is raised, the front side of it is still low. So I'll eventually go ahead and get back in there and pick up that low that's sitting at the front of that right dent before I decide to tap down the dent. You can see that that's exactly what I'm doing now. Now the tool that I'm using is called a whale tail, and it's specifically made for these particular dents, because these dents are sitting underneath the bracing. So the whale tail, what it does is it slides underneath the brace, and it allows me to use the bracing as leverage to push these dents out. The particular tool that I'm using is made by Dentcraft Tools out of Oklahoma. It's the short pink handle, and I believe the tip is 3/4 inches long. But that is one of my go-to whale tails for repairing hail damage. Now this process here is the knockdown process. Whatever metal is raised, I'm going to go ahead and tap that down with this particular knockdown. Now the knockdown I have is very versatile in the sense of I can unscrew that sharp pinpointed tip and put on another tip, maybe something a little bit more broad of a tip to push or to tap down more of a wider surface. For hail damage, I tend to use more of this pinpointed tip. For larger dents that create a crown, that's when I would bring in maybe a broader tip to tap down a wider surface. But it's definitely, this particular tip is definitely a go-to of mine for repairing these dents. Again, you know, it may not look like or you may be confused as to what I'm tapping down, but I'm looking at these dents from all different angles. So from here it may not look like I'm tapping anything, or why would I be tapping that, but from a different angle it shows that it's high or imperfect. So that's exactly why I'm tapping over there. So again, going back on the dent on the right there, you can see that I'm really trying to pinpoint that center and just pushing that dent up. Trying not to make imperfect pushes. You know, the goal for dent repair, and as you get more experienced, is if you can repair the dent correctly the first time, the less you have to go back on the dent, the faster that repair is going to be. And when it comes to hail damage, that is very essential, because that would make a world of difference when repairing hundreds of similar dents. Just being able to quickly repair them just allows you to go through the vehicle a lot quicker. Just continually trying to push that center of the dent out, and it's coming out great so far. Just very happy with it. Texture is matching the orange peel of the paint. It doesn't look any different. And that is definitely the goal, is to get it to match, so that when you do completely repair the dent, you're not going to be able to tell that the damage was even there in the first place. As you can see that I tapped it down there, the dent is not getting as big as it first was when I first tapped it. That's because the center of the dent is actually getting raised higher and higher. It's not as deep anymore. I do get asked a lot, are the dents going to get fall down after I repair them? And the way the metal works is it has great memory, and it has a lot of strength throughout the panel. So this particular dent doesn't warrant that as far as dents falling down. You fix the dent and it's going to stay that way. Even with any little tapping to it at all, it's still going to stay there. It's going to stay strong it hasn't lost its strength. The other occasions where you do lose strength in the metal and dents will fall down is if you have a really deep dent that's pulling a lot of the surrounding metal. And I'm talking about a dent that's creating a halo that's 2, 3, maybe even 4 inches wide. That is when we would be concerned of the metal just weakening in that area. And it's very easy to tell if it's not a strong area, because your dents are not able to stay flat if the metal is weak in that area. What ends up happening is you'll either end up with a shallow or you'll end up with a mound, almost like a pitcher's mound. And those are the only instances where the metal is too weak in that particular area where the dent could fall back down again. But again, it is noticeable. It cannot sit flat. Once your dent is flat, it's going to stay there unless you decide to take a hammer to it and recreate it. The strength is definitely going to be there if we were successfully able to get the dent flat. Now you can see here we successfully did the repair. I hope this video was helpful and I hope you guys learned something. If you like this style of video, please comment below, let me know. Please like, subscribe, it does help. Thank you guys again for watching.